Unión Raza, bien plantada.
Raza
Podcast. Es la sangre de lo que nos ha costado. De Las Vegas hasta donde sea, la palabra es ley. El que camina derecho no se dobla ante el rey.
Welcome to the Union Raza Podcast, episode number 20, coming live from Las Vegas from the Union Raza Studios, and I'm throwing it on over to Alec.
What's up, everybody? It is Friday. It's been a long day, really productive day. Me and my dad been holding it down while our uncle's out there in Ensenada. He needed a little rest, so we held it down today.
I can't even talk shit because I took it last week. But yeah, going back and forth, but getting everything down. The grind's real. But hey, Friday, salucita de la buena, enjoying a little bit of cervecita. And I want to introduce our guest over here. He's come. We met him in the shop about 3-4 years ago, and he's become a good friend. And he's here to tell us his story. Ed Long, welcome to the Union Raza Podcast.
Thank you, my brother. And I do feel like I'm a family member now. You know, it's a real honor to be invited in and be treated so warmly by my family fellows. You know, so yeah.
Welcome. So before we get into the trades, into what you're doing now, how was your early life? Where were you born? Where were you raised? How was the atmosphere? Tell me a little bit about, growing up.
Well, I grew up in suburbia Detroit. I grew up in the 70s, graduated high school 76, the bicentennial for our country. It was an exciting time. It was also, Detroit was known as the murder capital of the world at that time. And the auto industry was booming. It was really good times in Detroit. So I feel like I almost had a storybook childhood, not middle class way. My dad, electrician, 39 years at Great Lakes Steel. Anybody in the Detroit area is familiar with that plant. And typical growing up. And anyway, I was kind of followed in his footsteps, wanting to become an electrician, and I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so ever since you were young, you were like, okay, electrician, that's going to be it.
Yeah. At that time in my high school, we had an electrical vocational class, Of course, I took it 2 years and best friends with the teacher and all that sort of deal because of my dad being an electrician and stuff, And I had I was acclimated towards it, Since a little age, I'd say maybe 12 years old, I used to go with my father on side jobs, wiring basements and garages in the Detroit area. And it was a real growing into it experience. So I feel really blessed. I had all my hand tools by that early age. And, I just felt like it was just something I enjoyed.
Nice.
When you decided to get into the trade, was it through the IBEW training back then, or how was it? How would you become? What was the path to become a journeyman back in that era? Was it in Detroit, or was it?
Yeah, it was in Detroit, and I feel really blessed because right at that time, the federal government came out and told unions that if you want us to recognize you as a collective bargaining agency, you're going to have to take minorities and women into your organization so that you can be more representative of society. And it's through the CETA program. I got into the apprenticeship through a CETA program. And I don't mind telling you, it was rough. It was rough. There was real discrimination, being a minority and being, the feds forced you into us. You really don't belong. You don't have the skills. You don't have the talent. You're not white enough. That's the honesty of it, So
what percentage you would say, like out of every 100 white or Caucasian, how many Latinos or minority were they within the program back then? You think?
I'll be honest with you. I was the first.
Wow.
I was the first minority, Hispanic minority, and that's what I got in under. I listed myself as Hispanic. My mother is Stella Solis, and I'm very proud of my Hispanic heritage. I grew up at a time, and my mother, through the racism that she experienced growing up, my oldest sister's an English teacher. She didn't teach her children Spanish. didn't want us to have an accent because of all the discrimination, you know. She reminded me and taught us, you know, like she grew up at an era when it was common to see in Texas no dogs or Mexicans allowed, you know. Yeah. So growing up in that, she like tried to protect us and really promote education. My sister, other older sister is a salutatorian. The oldest sister, English teacher, graduate of University of Michigan. Like I say, my mother really emphasized education and telling us to like, you have to get like straight A's, you know, A's and B's only, you know, C's were unacceptable. And that's the way I grew up. It's a real advantage because I was blessed also. We had a good school program, good public school program at that time. I was the first one of my siblings not to go to parochial school.
What is parochial school?
Catholic school,
okay.
Religious school, something like that.
Did you, because I've seen, I guess you said in the 70s, Detroit was like really bad, concerned like one of the worst states to be at. Is that something that you saw, or like looking back at it, you're like, it wasn't too bad?
Oh yeah. You know, being a young man, I just had many adventures, many adventures, you know. But, you know, when you work as an apprentice, you go where they tell you to go. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so I worked all over the county. So they'd send you to like whatever the job is, you know, if it was a remodel or rebuild something in downtown Detroit, it could be in a very bad area. But, you know, like I'd get off work, and being a young man, I was curious. So I didn't just jump on the freeway and head right back out to suburbia. You know, I'd drive around town. I had an experience. One of my classmates, his father was an usher at Tiger Stadium on Michigan and Trumbull. So everybody from that area will know Michigan and Trumbull, just like they know my neighborhood. My neighborhood was I-94 and Telegraph Road. Everybody from Michigan knows that. I-94 is the main freeway that goes all the way to Chicago. Telegraph Road is the main thoroughfare that goes up the side of Detroit to Pontiac Silverdome. So I'd drive all through town and I'd see it, you know. Maybe I was crazy, maybe I was fearless. I was just young and impressionable and curious. It's really curiosity. But, you know, I saw all of Detroit, you know, driving down Grand River, seeing Hitsville where Berry Gordy and the Supremes were, and all those hits for the Motown sound. Detroit's just a fantastic town. And I grew up at the right time because everybody was working in the automotive industry, you know, which was a good paying job, you know. I grew up where everybody was working there and they had like, you could still afford the mom to stay home. Like my mom stayed home, mom raised the children, dad, one single parent working was enough, you know.
Covered the bills, covered the bread.
Yeah, and it wasn't unusual. Like, you know, many of my friends' families had boat, had a cabin, those sort of things. So, you know, like I say, middle class living, which nowadays seems like upper middle class, but it was just middle class living back then.
What do you think happened to Detroit? What happened to the industry, the vehicle industry, the car industry, that it just went? I know that it went from a booming city to a ghost town, or at least that's what we hear on some of the YouTube channels and some of the TikToks. Was it just jobs just being out of sea, sometimes to Mexico, China? Was it politics, a little everything? What is your take on it?
It was the Japanese invasion. Toyota came in, Hyundai, not Hyundai, but the Koreans, but the Japanese. The Japanese came in and really devastated the auto industry. They had a superior product, and they delivered a superior product at a lower cost, and people just bought their vehicles, and they stopped buying American. And American vehicles got a bad reputation. They did have some problems with their quality control, and they lost the market.
I was seeing, I think I was seeing something on it that at first they weren't even worried because there were little cars, four-cylinder, six-cylinder. Oh, who's going to buy that? And then all of a sudden they're saving hundreds of dollars in gas. They're reliable. They're long-lasting. And then they had a big problem that they didn't know how to resolve. That's what I was seeing, and that's just kind of beat it that they didn't see them as competition. And those old Toyotas and those old Nissans were made very, very good.
Yeah.
And when what happened to I know that a lot of the things that get assessed in Mexico too as well, that a lot of the parts like Chevrolet or all the GMCs and all that, General Motors, I know that it gets done, a lot of the parts out of seas assembled over there, then bring it over here. So we're not doing anything with those that industry anymore, as far as you know?
No, that industry has had a resurgence. And I'm happy to see that the UAW is back a little bit stronger, not to the way they were. The UAW was the most powerful union in the world at that time. The benefits, the conditions, it was just really good for unions, really good for the worker. And a lot of people benefited from that, and I'm glad to see the resurgence. I'm glad to see that they're coming back, but will they ever capture the way it was? No. Can we go back in time? We move forward. That's the way progress works. Mm-hmm. We're moving forward all the time, and you have to keep up with the times. There's been several industries, people tell me, like, oh, my dad was a lumberjack. I want to be a lumberjack. My great-granddad, we got 4 generations of lumberjacks. Well, and now I can't work in that industry. I have to leave my home. But it's that way for many people. I myself, as an electrician, I chose to be a traveler. So I've traveled across the United States, and worked coast to coast and border to border in Alaska too. But I chose that life, and I traded off like a stable family life or home life for the money. I chased the money. I wanted to work 6/10s. I wanted to work the biggest jobs in the country where they were making those kind of schedules, and that's what I chose to do, and I've benefited economically from it.
Very cool. I heard that Sparkies make one of the most money in the trades. How truthful is that?
That's very truthful. We're one of the top paying trades. There's 3 specialty trades: sheet metal, plumbers, pipe fitters, and electricians. Those are the 3 specialty trades. Then you have semi-skilled trades. Those are the skilled trades, I should say. They're skilled trades. And then we have semi-skilled trades, and then we have unskilled trades. So if you're into an unskilled trade, they're at a lower classification on the pay scale, because they're listed as that, because it's easier to get into their apprenticeship programs, a little easier to comprehend. Right now to become an electrician, you have to have algebra. You have to be proficient in math. It's a challenge. It's not the easiest trade to get into, but it's worth it if you apply yourself and stick with it and get into the apprenticeship program. It's well worth it. But again, it's like anything else. It's just like if you want to become a professional, if you want to become a college professor, you want to become a CPA, you want to become a lawyer, you want to become a doctor, you have to work at it and you have to apply yourself, and it just takes a certain level of effort.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you were moving from state to state. From what age where you're like, okay, I'm going to just be traveling?
I'd say, from early age on, I left Detroit, and another adventure, I left Detroit, went to like Sturgis, South Dakota for the big Black Hills Rally. Sturgis, it's a big bike rally. I was into bikes at that time, and then I just kept on heading out west, and I just kept on moving around, and I lived in Phoenix for a long time, and then I moved up here, but I always worked traveling, because you just got to travel to where the biggest bang for the buck is. You make a choice, Are you going to try and just work in town, local, and be satisfied at 40 hours a week, or do you chase the overtime? And I chose to chase the overtime, So it has trade-offs. Everything has trade-offs,
Did that have an impact? Do you have a family, a wife, kids, that, or during this time when you didn't have it, or?
Well, my situation is different than a lot of people's, but I made a personal decision early on not to have children.
Okay.
So that wasn't that problem. But I'll tell you, among traveling electricians, the divorce rate is incredible.
And that's the reason I asked.
Yeah,
I can
I'd say
imagine
the divorce rate is incredible. Yeah. I have friends that have been married and divorced 3-4 times. Wow. And they suffer economically because of that. But I chose not to have children, and I've just had a blessed life, really.
Oh. That's the reason you were able to travel. You had a lot of freedom in your hands.
Yeah,
so I could see that. Yeah. Hey, Rob, any shout-outs out there?
Yeah, we got some shout-outs coming through on the Instagram. Smart Local 88. Smart Local 88 supports the labor movement and our retirees. Thank you, Ed, for all you do in the movement. Over on the Facebook, we got Douglas Candido, Pete Rodriguez, and Leticia Blanco checking in to support. What's up, y'all? Throwing it back over to you.
Hell yeah, shout out to Loco 88, Pete Rodriguez, and everybody's listening out there, all their brothers and sisters. Happy Friday, salucita. You got anything? What do you got, bro?
Well, that's to me, it's interesting that you're, in a way, an adventurer, right? Like you said, since early on, you'd be not scared, right? All the stigma that came with Detroit at that time, but you're like, nah, I want to see what the city really is and it's about. And I think that's really interesting because I feel like I'm the same way. I classify myself as like an explorer and an adventurer. I just want to experience and see more.
You can't leave mom, and she'll be like, where's Alec at? Yeah. He's gone. He's an adventurer. Shout out to my wife.
Well, I utilized my work and incorporated it into my adventures, but there's other people. I have friends that are skydivers, friends that like travel, and do different things, they save up their money to go travel, skydiving, it depends. We were talking about hobbies, and I've been blessed in that, the motorcycle, I was a member of the Harley group, rode all over the Bay Area, fantastic. If you're on a motorcycle, that's some of the most fantastic riding, the most beautiful scenery, just great adventures, going to the Hells Angels clubhouse.
I was about to ask you some of the rough riders, or
hanging out with the Angels and stuff like that. Going up to some of their parties, some of the rallies, all the bike rallies, just. And I also, at one time, was a part of a 4-wheel drive club, and it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun going camping.
We were talking about that yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, the 4-wheel drive club is a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun and adventure. It's just, you only have one life, live it. Enjoy it, live it. Don't worry about the naysayers. Go out there and live your life for you and have as much fun and try and do good. Along the way, I've done many good. I belong to civic organizations. I'm going to shout out to the Fraternal Order of Eagles. I belong to the one on Washington and Bruce Street. Fantastic organization. Come on down and check it out,
What is it?
Fraternal Order of Eagles is a civic organization. We help with charity events. We have a nice facility there that you're able to host a nice charity event. We have some veteran events coming up soon. They're going to be great. I'm involved with another social organization called Solidarity Circle. One of the greatest people in the world, Deidre Radford's the chairwoman of that organization. She does good work. As a matter of fact, she was just at ULAN, and my union brothers know what I'm talking about, ULAN. And
shout out to Evelyn over there.
Yeah, Evelyn, and dropped off a food donation for the TSA workers there. She couldn't connect at the airport because of the security, scheduling, all that sort of deal. And she ended up taking it over to Evelyn, and Evelyn's going to hand it off for her. So, doing good in the community, representing. I feel I'm a good representative of the union because, I'm in the community, I'm involved, I care. I'm also a senior citizen commissioner for the city of Henderson. So,
oh, wow, I didn't know that.
I encourage people to get involved in your city activities, in politics. Go out there, if you're in labor, represent labor well,
And how did that transition happen? How do you go from the trade, from the field to organizing, to community, to where you're at as a president now? How did that path be? Did you just got retired? It's okay. This is next, or how did that journey start?
I've always been involved with giving back to the community, trying to help my brothers, trying to help my fellow community. People in need. You see a homeless person, and it's easy to give them $5, easy to like give them, like hand off McDonald's to them, hand off something else, But there's a need. There's a real need in the community, and you either have it in you to like help your fellow brother, or help your fellow person, or you don't. So it's not everybody's calling, but along with being an adventurer, I also have real empathy, and I care. I care about my community, and I wanted to be involved. In Detroit, I was a member of the Moose Lodge. That's what you did. You worked. You went to the Moose Lodge. You went to the Friday dances, the Friday dinners, that sort of thing. And that's just what you do. That's what I was taught. My mother taught me to care. And I do care. So I care about the community, something I've done all along, and I've always just tried to be involved. But, another activity I've done is I've been to Henderson's Citizen Police Academy, also Metro Citizens Police Academy. So, I encourage people to go ahead. You want to know about the police, they're not necessarily our enemy, not necessarily our friend, but they have a job to do. And I wanted to learn more about it because policing isn't like on TV. It's a serious business, and you should get to know about it, So that's educated myself, So again, wanting to be an adventurer, wanting to learn about stuff, these are the things. I involve myself. I encourage all my brothers and sisters in the labor movement, go to that Citizens Police Academy, How else do we learn how they operate? How else do we learn to keep them accountable? Everybody talks about being us accountable as a union member. Accountability is a two-way street. Everybody needs to be held accountable.
Yeah, I agree. It takes a team. So tell me, Southern Nevada Central Labor of Council, which you're a president of, were you appointed? Did you run? You have an opponent? How was that whole transition, or how did that work? I remember that we did a couple of the, some flyers for you. And they said, "Hey, I'm running," and what is it? How often you guys run? How long is the seat for? What exactly do you guys do? I was out there a couple of weeks at IBEW. I seen you speak to some of the candidates, and I seen you networking as well with Cindy, Nevada AFL-CIO.
Susie,
so I seen you, Susie. Yeah, I seen you very active. So tell me a little bit about your position now as the seat that you hold.
Well, the Southern Nevada Central Labor Council is an affiliate of approximately 55 local unions. We come, we meet, we do interview candidates for endorsements. We also work to promote our interest in the community, in the legislature. So it's a challenging position. It's a 2-year term.
2-year term, okay.
Yeah, and I did run for it, and I was in a race, and I was successful in my candidacy, and I feel blessed. Thank you, brothers, for all the ones that voted for me and put me in this position. I feel honored to represent, and I feel it's a big responsibility, and I try to represent very well, and I think I do okay at it,
And before this, you were like a board member of it, or what?
Yes,
what is
you're appointed by your local union, IBEW 357.
Shout out!
Yeah, yeah, very very proud of my affiliation with IBEW Local 357. We're an influential union, and we do a lot of good in the community, and I'm very proud of it. And
are you retired as a
I am
journeyman?
retired.
Okay.
I am retired. I went out on a medical retirement. I retired at 62 versus the 65. I did plan on working until 65. But, like many of my brothers and sisters in the construction industry, I was forced to take a medical early retirement.
You get hurt on the job, or?
Yeah, it's a job-related injury, and it's common. It is hard work. Construction is hard work.
Yeah.
We have a shorter life expectancy than the normal worker, and that's due to the hazards on the job, the difficult conditions that we face. It's not easy working in 120-degree temperatures, 110. Summers here are tough, and it wears a person's body out.
Yeah.
So that's part of the business. That's something when you sign on, it's explained to you that there's all these things that you look at, and that's part of the business. But we take on that and we accept those challenges because we're building generational wealth and trying to provide for our family. When you look around and you see a lot of union brothers and sisters, they're so proud of their sons and daughters that they were able to send to college. My dad was so proud of my oldest sister being a graduate of University of Michigan. The second oldest sister being a graduate of University of Michigan. Those are great achievements and, hard work, a lot of sacrifice, to like be able to get your sons and daughters a college degree and try and give them a better life than what we have. Isn't that the purpose?
Yeah, to provide a roadway. Yeah, my dad retired from the laborers, Local 872. Shout out to them. And right now, his neck, his shoulder, his mid back, his lower back, his knees. And I'm like, Dad, man, you really, really gave your life. But he loved it. I mean, till this day, he'll wake up 5 a.m. He's right now at the rancho in Mexico, retired. Comes and goes, and he's a happy dude. But I mean, I see what the sacrifice that he did over his life. And I remember a couple episodes ago, Alec was like, my grandpa was like, look, I built that. And it's a rewarding life, but you do put your whole body and your soul into it. And shout out to everybody that puts in those boots and the hard hat, because, it is hard work, man. It is. And they deserve every single dollar and every single penny earned, man.
Yeah.
Alec. Put you on the spot, boy.
Yeah. So you were moving. What about Vegas made you want to stay?
Well, I thought Vegas has world-class restaurants, entertainment, and it's 10 degrees cooler than Phoenix. There's a lot of things here. You have snow available. Phoenix, Las Vegas is just a terrific city. Also, the other thing I really looked at is if somebody wants to visit me, they have no excuse not to. We have the cheapest airfares in the country coming into Vegas. So, nobody has an excuse to not come visit me. And everybody wants to come to Vegas. Everybody loves Vegas. Sin City, it's whatever reputation you think Vegas is, it is a fun city. You can have a lot of fun here, world-class dining, world-class entertainment. It's got everything here. It's just fantastic.
So Vegas caught you, basically.
Yeah. and look at me here now with my Union Raza family, here with my brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, Vegas is fun. We went to New York. I've been to New York a couple of times, and we went to the Broadway, the shows.
On Broadway.
Yeah, Broadway, and then we went to some steakhouse, and then my wife and I were talking about, like, these shows are over there. The steakhouses are over there. That the 24-hour city. Nothing against New York, by the way. We made really good friends, but we are blessed with a lot of the best of the best is here in Vegas, and it's a new city. So it's and again, hey, I'm gonna head to New York in a little bit. Nothing. It was a great time, but yeah, I remember going to Phoenix, and then after 12:30 or 1, there was one where after a certain amount you can't get a beer, and then if you want to have a cigarette, you have to go to another way, and then they kicked you out at a certain time. And I'm in Vegas. I'm like, that's when the party gets started. I'm in my early 20s, and you don't realize all the stuff that Vegas has that other ones don't, and we have everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it's a great city, and it's a new city. What do you think we are heading the most challenges here in Vegas, within the unions, within the trades, within the communities? What do you think is the biggest challenges ahead, and what do we need to do to unite and things that you're doing so to move forward?
I think one of the biggest challenges that we face as a community is general knowledge about unionism, knowledge about community, what it means to stick together, what it means to be united in a common cause, and also the quality of life. I grew up and I had so many benefits. It was really sometimes I think a magical upbringing. And sometimes when I think about, like a TV show, this is going to date me, but like Leave It to Beaver, it was almost like a fantasy make-believe, or the some of those TV shows that were on at that time, it was almost like that, And now I see that the knowledge, the institutional knowledge isn't there about what collective bargaining can do for a family, how to have a pension, I don't think that people fully understands what a pension means. As a senior citizen commissioner, I see it on a daily basis, how seniors are trying to survive on Social Security. It's impossible. If a Social Security check is $1,200 a month, what's that? Everybody listening, everybody knows, what the cost of living is today, So I think understanding what collective bargaining means, how, in my heart, everybody should be working under a collective bargaining agreement, As I stated in the promo, everybody's a union member. You may not be paying dues, but you're receiving all the benefits of what the union does for you, the working conditions. You'd be treated like a total slave if it wasn't for unions setting standards. And that's what it is. I really feel the community needs to understand, know, and learn about like the standards that we work under, and that what we've created for everybody. Everybody benefits. And I just think that union support is lacking. Getting the word out, getting the information out there, come help in your union, So those are the sort of things that I feel, the education of the general public. You see it, Union Raza, you've made a difference in the community. You're a representative. People can talk to you now about like union. What's that Union Raza mean? And you can explain to them how you help, how you're proud of your union shop, how you're like 100% union, and what it means, and educating, your neighbors, your friends, your family. I see you out there at events, supporting it. I see your toy drive, helping in the community, giving back to the community. These are the things, and just the benefits that come, So that's one of my biggest things, is trying to educate the community.
On the platform that we have on the platform, some of them, I wouldn't say most of the followers are union, but we do get a lot of backlash and a lot of criticism. Unions are lazy. Unions don't do this, don't that. Unions this and that, and sometimes sometimes I'll be able to comment back or message back. I get a lot of direct messages, and sometimes these people are misinformed. If they knew that, again, how my mom and my dad retired and they have a paycheck, they have a security check. When we were growing up, how we had health insurance, how we were able to afford a good living. I seen how my parents went from literally when we got here in Vegas to a trailer, turned down a 2-bedroom apartment to a 3-bedroom apartment to the dream home. That was because of who they worked for, because they work under a contract. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. I lived it. We were the kids that were in the local while my dad was playing a little bit of poker right there and waiting to be called. So we were born with it or lived it. And sometimes it's just misinformation, regardless of the industry or the trade. But yeah, it's and especially within our Latino culture, every time I talk to them, like, bro, go reach your union. Well, it's so hard to get in, and it's so political. And I'm like, bro, knock on the door. Door's gonna get open, and then you do your dues. God's gonna say, all right, bro, come on in, And I think it's a lot of misinformation, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it is tough. Sometimes all of a sudden there's not a lot of union jobs, especially in the construction. Out of the year they're working 6, 7, 8 months, depending on the city, how much work there is. Now, and at first I didn't understand that how important are the bills to get passed. Things that are backed by unions, getting the right candidates in there. There's so much that is behind the scenes that people don't even understand how the battle is. But I think that this type of platforms and what everybody does is what is just getting connected. If we'll have one goal and to just have a better life, that's enough goal to get through those doors and through those walls. That's just the way I see it.
I think you're absolutely right. And you saw it firsthand, and you saw the sacrifice that your father was willing to make to provide a better life for the family and give you a chance to open up your business and have a successful business. And, you also saw the role model, the example of getting up every morning and going to work with your aches and pains, and I'll tell you right now. So yes, I have degenerative discs in my neck, degenerative discs in my lower back, my knees are shot. That's just, but that's the trade-off. The trade-off is having a comfortable retirement. I do have a comfortable retirement. I feel blessed, especially when I see so many people struggling at a senior's, like I said, senior commissioner. I see it every day. They're at the Heritage Senior Center in Henderson there. They basically, they get lunch. They get a lunch, served there, and that's their meal for the day, 5 days a week. And on Saturday and Sunday, they go without, So these are the struggles that people are going through. It's difficult, and I just think education is so important about unions, and about how solidarity and stuff like that. And persistence pays. It might be hard to get into a union, but you got to stick with it, and sooner or later, if you stick with it, you will get an opportunity to get in. And, you talk about, they told me like on the first day of apprenticeship, it's seasonal work. Try to live off half your paycheck, and that's also another reason why I chose to be like a boomer, and chase the big jobs with the overtime, because when I did get laid off, I was able to survive comfortably and weather those layoffs, but it's also management, understanding economics, educating yourself, being an astute worker, these are the sort of things that are matter to me.
Rob, any shout outs? What do we got out there on the platforms?
We got a couple people checking in over on the IG. Let's see. We got Painter George 415, Local 10 ILWU, representing out of San Pancho Califas.
Orale.
And then we got some more. Give me a second. Let me scrolling down. Boxing is Dead Clothing, IBEW 357 Vegas. Saludos a todos. Alex Mora, I work with Big Ed at Google. Swing Shift 2020.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then over here on the Facebook, we got Albert Orozco, A-Team Heavy Hitters, Sheet Metal Workers Solidarity. And then it looks like Vladimir Ortega, Uncle Vladdy's NALC 2502 checking in. Albert has an interesting comment right here. We didn't even know about unions in the barrios. That's why we need to do our part to spread the word to our communities. Throwing it back to you.
Alec, what do you think so far about all this? You got a Sparky friend too, no?
Yeah, I was about to say that it is a lot of work. I hear from my friend. He's part of IBEW 357, and he said it's a lot of work. Right now, I think he's one of the casinos. He's working. We always say that we're gonna be in a casino one day and we're gonna find him inside a wall because he's gonna be talking through us through a wall because he's just over there. And it seems when he works, there's a lot of work, and it's tough sometimes. Then when he describes it, I'm like, all right, well, good luck, stay safe, man. Because I know those especially when it comes to electricity, those rules you guys gotta follow are written in blood. Someone had to pass for that rule to get made, or those precautions.
Well, the industry has really changed. When I first got into it, the apprenticeship, they used to shock you to see if you had what it took to stay in the trade. That was part of the apprenticeship. But now, with all the safety procedures, we rarely have to work things hot. And then when we do work things hot, the safety standards are there, the protectional equipment is there. It's a lot different than when I first got in, where it used to be a little bit more cowboy mentality. And I'm all for it. I'm all for safety. I'm all for OSHA, and those are good things because they protect the workers, I do want to circle back around to the Solidarity Circle. My good friend Deidre Radford. Who's
I was about to ask you. You brought a friend. Tell me a little about her, and we'll get her in over here, and she could. She sings and.
Deidre is a community advocate, a leader in the community. She stands for like good things. Has helped a lot of people. Like I said, she was collecting food for the TSA workers, dropped them off at Evelyn. She's promoting something now called the Solidarity Circle, working hand in hand. She runs another club that promotes labor. And the Solidarity Circle is going to be hosting some events and stuff like that that are going to really enrich the community and be something special. And I don't know, are we going to bring her on?
Yeah, let's
now,
bring her
or?
in. Let's have a clap for Deidre.
She could take my seat.
Thank you. I'll just keep talking while she gets settled in.
Welcome to the podcast, Deidre.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the Union
Thank you
Raza
so much.
Podcast,
It's fabulous
episode
to be
20.
here. Thank you so much. It's
Do you
wonderful
need the
to be here.
headphones?
OCO.
Yeah, let's put the headphones on.
Okay, I'll put the headphones on. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say Deidre's a very talented singer. Many people have seen her perform in her Rosie show, which is a salute to unions. She did a benefit at the Fraternal Order of Eagles. We had a sold-out, packed house. A lot of unions were in attendance. Got to see her perform. She did several union songs, you know. One of my favorites, Which Side Are You On, you know, by the Dropkick Murphys, you know, When I Start Raging, you know. Just is a really, really good citizen for our community, does such good work, you know.
You gonna sing for us? You gonna do a cappella over here?
Well,
or what's the plan?
I did want to talk about a little bit about the show. So I do a pro-labor show, and I sing labor songs, not only from the United States, but also some Mexican labor songs as well. In
You got some corridos in there?
I have a fabulous friend who's a mariachi singer,
Okay.
and she does. She's actually with the Las Vegas Academy. She learned mariachi there, so she just lit up the stage when she came on, and we did a couple of.
What is her name?
Gabriella.
Gabriela. Shout out to Gabriela Mariachi.
She's up in Reno going to school. Fantastic performer. And I want to say Las Vegas Academy for the Performing Arts, their mariachi program is one of the best in the country. They're renowned. They tour. If you have an opportunity to go to one of their shows there at their theater.
And they're
just-
Reno or here?
Here.
Here in
The
Maybe we'll get them to the
Las Vegas,
podcast. Yeah.
Las Vegas Performing Academy. It just is really great.
You got to give me their contact and bring them in.
Yeah,
Bring 'em in.
yeah.
Yeah, she's fabulous. And one of the songs that we did is, you know, the United Farm Workers did so many wonderful things for not just the farm workers, but for all of labor. And I think some of these songs are just a testament to that. One of the songs, the chorus says, "Long live the strike in the fields. Long live the historic cause. The people, full of glory, will achieve victory." And so it goes a little something like this. Viva la huelga en el fil, viva la causa en la historia, la raza llena de gloria, la victoria va a cumplir. Viva la huelga en el fil, viva la causa en la historia, la raza llena de gloria, la victoria va a cumplir. It's like just so.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
It's this.
Your Spanish is on point. You speak Spanish? Or?
I sing in Spanish.
You sing in
I
Spanish.
sing in
Okay,
Spanish.
okay.
I sing a little. I talk a little bit of Cherokee. My mama works for the Cherokee Nation. We're Cherokee. My sister works for the Cherokee Nation. So we do speak a little bit of a different language, but it's a different type of language. But yeah, we do this show, and one of the main reasons for the Solidarity Circle that Ed was talking about was to not only get a chance to do the show. Obviously, the show is really great because it rallies people to the cause of unionism. You know, there are countries in the world that have 70% of their population are members of labor unions. Imagine if we had that, the strength, the power that we would have as workers. And I think that's something that's a vision that we can look forward to if we can get the word out. And it starts right here, right, in our own communities, yeah? And so, yeah, we got to get rid of right to work, though. It starts there, right? Because the states in the United States that don't have that have double the amount of union membership that we do here in Nevada. So if we can just get rid of it, we could double our union membership almost straight away. And really getting out there and letting people know what these can do for you. These countries that have 70% of their workers members of labor unions, they have all their citizens are taken care of. Like the people will take care of the people. They have health care, they have child care, they have paid family leave, wonderful education. People end up, their children speak 5 languages whenever they get out of school. And they have top-notch research and development in these countries. So it's definitely possible to do it. We just need to start at the community level, and that's the fun work: getting in the community and just loving your neighbors and getting out there and spreading the word about it.
I could tell you're very passionate.
I
feel your energy. I
am
do.
very passionate.
Yeah. I feel it.
Oh,
She does a good job representing labor, and one of the things that she's working towards on the Solidarity Circle is to invite over some labor leaders from, I believe, Denmark. Is that
yes.
Denmark?
Is that where you're from?
I am actually from the United States, but I have my mama's family are Cherokee, and my dad's family are Jewish, and free Palestine though, and I really feel like we can learn some things from Denmark. The way they've organized their society is actually much like the way indigenous people organize their societies, because they make sure that everybody's taken care of. Yeah. But I think the start of that is making sure that you have a high percentage of the workers that are members of labor unions, because they not only do they have power, they keep the power, they hold the power, and it is extremely democratic. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't know about indigenous societies of the Americas, is how democratic many of those societies were. So it all ties back, it's just...
We're all connected on this, we truly are.
Yes, connected. Yes.
Well, not everybody knows that the Articles of Confederation from the tribes and when the settlers first came, that's really the basis of our Constitution. So, again, I'm proud of my Native American heritage. I'm really, Deidre, she has her Native American card. So, she really is a Native American, and I'm from the Otami tribe in north central Mexico, and I'm proud of that. I'm really proud. I really am my mother's son. She taught me so much, instilled on me such a pride to be, Hispanic, Mexican. We didn't have that Hispanic word. We were just straight Mexican.
Mexicanos, yeah.
She'd dress me up with the sombrero and the serape, and I'd go to school for, like a show and tell and stuff like that. And, I'm very proud of my Mexican heritage. Very proud of my mom. I'm proud to be a member of the Union Raza family, Proud to be here today, brother. And talking about unions, talking about family. I feel lucky and fortunate, proud to be a member of the Solidarity Circle, and I'm looking forward to when we can bring over those Danish labor leaders to do a forum here about what it takes, and when you look at France and how France conducts its general strikes, and gets things done, it's a real challenge here, and that's why I say education is so important to get our community going on union, what union means, what it means to be a representative, what it means to have rights and fighting for your rights, I think some of the important things, some of the important legislation that got vetoed by the governor, that protected, families, protected housing. Right now, I'm really scared for the future generation, How many people are going to be able to afford to get into a house? I was at a little seminar not too long ago, and they were talking about how housing prices, what it takes to get into a house. And people are talking about what it takes to be middle class, $125,000 to $150,000 a year to be middle class, And we look at the number of people that are making that kind of income. It's a real challenge. It's a real challenge to educate people about what unionism can do.
So you think that's the biggest challenge for leadership is to carry on that flag and communicate the right message and get everybody just united and have a cause that we could fight this together. I feel that sometimes leadership it's a double-edged sword. I remember my mom said what she always tell me: be careful when you become a leader because Jesucristo lo crucificaron. So he would say Jesus got crucified because he was a great leader. So be careful what you wish for, because I was always a natural leader, and I'm not comparing myself to Jesucristo, but I do see a big challenge with the leadership that sometimes the messaging, sometimes the ego, sometimes the different causes or the different opinions, and meeting in the middle. If we're all in this together, how can we pass the message to say, hey, let's get this through. Let's get all this community that needs the help, that needs the resources, because that's what it's about. And that's people that sit on this chair. They're great leaders. It's just a matter of how can I help you so you could help me so we could help them. That's kind of like the way I see it.
Well, like you just said earlier on in the program, how you get feedback, negative feedback. I think that's the thing that your mom was telling you about. Beware of that, but it can't deter you. You either have it in you, and I know you have it in you. You're standing up, you're breaking ice, you're a leader in the community, just your shop, being union out there, getting the message out, that bug on the paperwork that you hand out, the flyers, the mailers, all that sort of stuff. You are a true leader, but you feel it. I know you feel it because, like you said, that feedback
I do feel a responsibility, and I feel the responsibility also with my sons. I mean, they're both here right now to say that only legacy I'm going to leave, it's that responsibility of, hey, your dad got up, he went ahead, he did things right, and that's the kind of legacy I want to leave to them. Says, hey, I didn't back down. We did this shit. We're going to do it together, and let's go. If it's for a common good, if it's to help, that's the legacy that I'm looking for, because that's what it was left to me. When I see my mom has dementia stage 6, but she was a great, great woman. And just to know her, I'm like, Mom, I look at her and I said, you did right. You got 2 boys in there and you did right. And I respect every single leader that gets in here. None of us are perfect. We all got our shits and we all got, but no. If we really, really want to help, I think we could all do this together. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you allowing me a forum to help push this message. I'm so proud of Deidre. Last Saturday, she was the MC for a major protest downtown, and I was so proud to see so many union members there, so many union leaders there. And that's a community event. That's what it takes to move the needle in our community in America. And Nevada can be a leader. Nevada can be we're already a important state. Yeah. And I'm so proud. We talked about Vegas and we talked about what it means. Vegas is such a melting pot. There's so many different people here from so many different backgrounds, and we're all here in this great community. It's a real representation of America. We have real America happening right here, real America stepping up. These Americans that are here, migrated here from different parts of the country, from Mexico, from South America, they've all come here to make a better life for themselves and for their children. And we do all this stuff for our children, And like I said, Deidre leading that, emceeing that major protest. That was a major protest. Do you have another song for us, Deidre?
Do
you have another song?
Oh, I hadn't thought of it.
I'm going to put her on the spot. See, I just don't do it to you.
Well, I can talk about another song that we did was De Colores.
De Colores, okay, it's a great song. Nice. Yeah.
De Colores, Da 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 da. It was just so beautiful. But without my accompanist, without my companion that was singing beside me, it's hard for me to do it. You know, it's just she's really something. I have to say.
You really did put her on the spot on that too. You know, but I'll say right now, you know, Linda Ronstadt, who doesn't speak Spanish, has one of the best mariachi albums out there. You know, I love that album. You know, and I listen to it all the time. It's on my phone. You know. So I play it in the car off my phone and stuff like that. I play it for people, you know. Like I say, I'm so proud to be, you know, I remember my mom taking me to different events and stuff like that, standing me up on the picnic table, standing me up on the table, making me do the Mexican yell. You know, that's where it's at. That you know, I'm proud to be that, you know. So it's just...
I know we got, Rob is telling me we got 4 minutes. Do you want to do some shout outs before we close, Rob, or do you want to go with closing thoughts?
Let's see. I got one more shout out from the Facebook. We got Albert Orozco. You guys are doing a great job. All of you, keep up the great work, brothers and sisters.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Albert. Let's go over to them closing thoughts.
So I got the last question, Ed, and this is for the brothers out there right now that are struggling, feeling stuck, maybe thinking about quitting. With what advice would you give maybe a young man like my son or a 30-year-old that he can't seem that things don't go his way? What would be an advice? Union or non-union?
Yeah, and this is for everybody because this is something I pointed out to somebody not too long ago. You know, hope is everything. Do not feel hopeless. Hope is what gives us the energy to strive to continue on in our endeavor to like succeed, you know. So don't ever give up hope. I know it can be very tough. We're talking to somebody that like, you know, I left Detroit, you know, lived in a car, lived in a tent, struggled. You know, people look at me now and they can't imagine that I had those kinds of struggles. But I did, you know. I made a choice in life to go out, make it on my own, and I succeeded. But it isn't easy, and the odds are against you. It feels like they're overwhelming at times, but you just can't give up. You have to just keep plugging away. I tell people all the time, if you think you got problems now, think about your problems if you lose your job. You know, if you don't have a job, so you got to work. It doesn't even matter, you know. If you know, I started out, you know, one of the stories I like telling is, you know, I was in 4th grade. My dad sat me down. I go, Dad, how come I don't get an allowance? My friends all get allowances, you know. How come I don't get an allowance? My dad sat me down, opened up his record-keeping book, showed me, these are the bills. This is why you don't get an allowance. This is what I make. He showed me what he made, you know, 4th grade. He didn't hesitate. You know, so he says, your allowance, you're going to have to go out there and get a paper route, cut lawns, do whatever it takes to like make your allowance because this is what it is. You know, as a family, as a dad, I have a responsibility to take care of the family, pay the bills here and stuff like that, and you benefit from that. So I tell everybody, I go, hey, listen, I know it's tough and you can feel hopelessness, but please don't give up, you know. Try and find that hope in something and just keep working. Just keep working.
Just keep at it.
Just keep working. Keep persisting. Keep applying to the apprenticeship programs. Keep working. It doesn't matter, you know, at any job. I have a friend right now, you know, working 3 jobs. You know, I have a couple friends that are working those kind of things, you know, flipping from job to job, you know. So I would say don't give up hope. Deidre, you've had some experiences, you know. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thought?
I do have a little bit of thought. You know, I worked at Bombard Electric for almost 15 years, and I, you know, worked with union electricians every day. It was, you know, building solar power, and that was my first introduction to union members, and basically, you know, learning about what a difference it can make in your life. Now, I was a project manager, so I didn't get the benefits of being in a union. So I can now, and then I got sick. And with my illness, There was no safety net to catch me. We don't really have a good safety net in the United States for people who fall ill. So, I basically, lost everything because of that. And but it was just really inspiring to see the brothers and sisters in the unions and their system that allows everybody to take care of each other in that sense with the contracts that they get and the protections that they get along with those contracts. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think, like I said, there are systems on this planet that work. They're proven to work. And that's maybe a vision that we could have moving forward is to have a vision of a society that is much improved.
That's what it's about, improving.
Yeah.
Deidre, Ed, I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you for being here. It was an awesome hour. It went away like 10 minutes.
It goes by fast.
But I thank you guys. The doors are always open, and anything that we could do or help, we're right here. We're always willing to give a hand and always willing to learn. Everybody that sits here, we learn something every single day. So I appreciate you guys. You guys have a great weekend. Rob, you want any closing thoughts over here before we call it out?
No closing thoughts. We just want to thank everybody for tuning in and dropping their comments and shouting out their local for the Union Raza podcast, episode number 20, live from Las Vegas.
Hey, I want to say a shout out to Rob. What a fantastic producer. What a great setup it is here. Thank you so much for everything you do, because I think you're the man responsible for all this, and this is a fantastic setup.
It's a whole team over here,
and what a great team it is. And I love that family tree you have in your office. You're so proud of your family, and that's what it is. And I feel honored to be here. I feel honored to be treated like family. What a special feeling that is to come in here and feel like your family. Very special. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. You're my brother, no doubt about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Blessings to everyone out there. And that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Del polvo de Las Vegas salí con el nombre firme. No hubo manos que ayudaran, tuve que hacerme invencible. Aprendí desde morro que el respeto no se pide, se gana con la espalda recta aunque el mundo te castigue. No crecimos con promesas ni discursos motivados, crecimos entre la chamba y los sueños atrasados. La palabra era la ley, no ocupaba contrato. El que fallaba una vez se quedaba señalado. Aquí no hubo milagros ni caminos regalados. Hubo turnos largos y los huesos bien cansados, pero el hambre te enseña a no doblar la frente, y el que aguanta la tormenta luego pesa diferente.